Dr. Aultman is, as I would describe, such a deep person and yet very understated. She's got one of the most amazing stories I've ever heard about this issue, and the way that she tells it and describes it, you can just tell how much sorrow she feels from some of the choices that she made in the past, and how much peace she lives with, and how much God uses her as a very, very powerful instrument. So I think we're all in for a real treat. I know we've already had a real treat tonight, but Dr. Aultman is going to crown this out here. Dr. Aultman, MD, is a board-certified OBGYN and a fellow of ACOG and APLOG. A former abortionist, Aultman performed first trimester suction DNC abortions and received special training in second trimester DNEs. She also served as the medical director of Planned Parenthood of Jacksonville. And her experience doing abortions and in her OBGYN practice led her to recognize the humanity of the preborn and convert to the pro-life position. She spends a lot of time these days testifying before state legislatures about pro-life issues, and a little less time speaking, even though she's very much sought after. But when I called her and asked her to come speak at the March for Life, she said initially, oh, no, I've got to really think about this. And she said, let me take it to prayer. And within 24 hours, she was like, I'll do whatever you want. And she really, truly has been like that every step of the way. So, without further ado, I give you Dr. Kathi Aultman.
Wow, I'm just overwhelmed to be here, and just overwhelmed. I feel honored to speak to you today, and I pray that my story will give you hope that you can change the attitudes of your legislators and those in the abortion industry and those around you. Mine is a story of redemption and renewal. I'm a retired OBGYN, and I'm currently work with the Charlotte Lozier Institute, which is a fabulous group. I'd like to relate my journey from pro-abortion to pro-life, from an abortionist to someone who testifies on behalf of the unborn. When I entered medical school, I believed that abortion was a woman's right. This view was strengthened when I chose to have my own abortion, a decision I deeply regretted later. I felt that a woman should have control over her own body and not be forced to bear a child she didn't want. I also believed it was wrong to bring unwanted children into an overpopulated world where they might be neglected or abused. Medical students and residents are taught that abortion is a normal part of women's health care. The pro-life view is discouraged. It is increasingly difficult for pro-life students to get into medical schools and residencies, especially OBGYN. Professors can lose their positions for expressing pro-life views. It saddens me that ACOG, our college, should be on the forefront fighting for women and the unborn, actively opposes pro-life legislation. The American Board of Obstetrics and Gynecology has actually applied for a new subspecialty, complex family planning, to provide certification for late-term abortions. All OBGYN residents must learn to do abortions unless they opt out for reasons of conscience. If we want pro-life doctors in 5 years, it is critically important that we unite to pass the Conscience Protection Act soon. No one should be forced into taking a life in order to complete their medical training or to keep their license. Physicians should be healers, not killers. During my residency program, I was trained in first trimester D&C with suction abortions and sought out special training in second trimester dismemberment abortions. After each procedure, I had to examine the tissue to account for all the body parts, to make sure nothing was left to cause infection or bleeding. I was amazed at the perfectly formed organs and limbs with their tiny fingers and toes, and I found it fascinating to look at the pathology slides. At that time, a human fetus seemed no different to me than the chick embryos I dissected in college. I could view them with strictly scientific interest, devoid of any of the emotions with which I would normally view a baby. I wasn't heartless, I just had been trained to compartmentalize things. The difference in my mind was whether the baby was wanted or not. If it was wanted, it was a baby. If it was unwanted, it was a fetus. Really? Why should a person's life be dependent on whether someone else wants them or not? Pro-abortion groups like Planned Parenthood have brainwashed our society into believing that an unintended pregnancy is the worst thing that can happen to a woman. Yet the amount of time needed to keep an unwanted pregnancy after it's discovered is a very short time to be inconvenienced when balanced against the entire life of another person. After my first year of training, I got a job moonlighting at a clinic doing abortions. I enjoyed the technical challenges of the procedure and prided myself on being really good at what I did. I believed I was helping women. I did my best to make this painful procedure as painless as possible for my patient, but I never even considered the pain the baby was experiencing. The only time I had any qualms about doing abortions was when I realized that I was trying to save babies in the NICU that were the same age as babies I was aborting. Unfortunately, I was able to rationalize and suppress those feelings. My last year in residency, I became pregnant, but continued to do abortions without any reservations. My baby was wanted, theirs was not. The first time I returned to the clinic after my delivery, however, I was confronted with 3 cases that changed my opinion. I discovered that I had personally done 3 abortions on a girl scheduled that morning, and I hadn't been doing them for very long. When I protested, I was told by the clinic staff that it was her right to choose abortion as her method of birth control, and that I had no right to pass judgment on her or to refuse to do the procedure. I told them that was fine for them to say, but that I was the one that had to do the killing. She got her abortion, and despite my urging, refused birth control. The next situation involved a woman who, when asked by her friend if she wanted to see the tissue, replied, "No, I just want to kill it." I felt like saying, "What did that baby ever do to you?" The last case brought me to tears. This was a mother of 4 who didn't feel she could support another child. She cried throughout her abortion, and that was the end of my abortion career. I had finally made the emotional connection between fetus and baby. What struck me was the apathy of the first patient and the hostility of the second towards her baby, contrasted with the sorrow and misery of a woman who knew what it was to have a child. I realized that the baby was the innocent victim in all of this. The fact that the baby was unwanted was no longer enough justification for me to kill it. Few doctors can do abortions for very long. Although women seeking abortions are told that the pregnancy is just a blob of tissue, the abortionist knows exactly what he or she is doing because they must count the body parts. Eventually, the truth sinks in. It's especially difficult for OBGYNs because they're normally concerned about the welfare of both their patients. But in an abortion, they're killing one of them. Sadly, although I could not personally do abortions anymore, I remained a staunch supporter of abortion rights. I maintained those beliefs even after I became a Christian. My views began to change, however, as I saw women who did extremely well after deciding to keep their baby, and those who were struggling with the emotional and physical complications of abortion. That wasn't what I was expecting. It was inconsistent with the feminist rhetoric I had embraced. The other thing that began to chip away at my pro-abortion armor was watching precious children in my church who were almost aborted grow up. Interacting with them made me realize that those unwanted preborn babies each had their own unique personality. I didn't completely change my opinion on abortion, however, until a Christian friend gave me an article that convinced me of the evil of abortion. I realized that what I had done was just as bad as the atrocious mass killings of the past. Just as I did not consider fetuses as human beings, they did not consider their victims to be human. I asked for God's forgiveness and became pro-life. God is merciful and surrounded me with loving friends who helped me get the counseling and prayer that I needed to heal. I responded to an email asking for a physician willing to go to Washington to testify in favor of the partial birth abortion ban. That didn't work out, but shortly thereafter, the floodgates opened, and I was able to testify before several state legislatures. I defended the ban in multiple state courts and eventually testified before a House subcommittee in Washington. God was faithful and gave me everything I needed to keep going during that time. Once, as I was being cross-examined during a court case in Arkansas, God stopped time for me and spoke to my heart. He said, "If you hadn't done what you did, I couldn't be using you now." There were three things that made me feel terribly guilty and embarrassed as a Christian: my divorce, my abortion, and the fact that I had done abortions. How gracious of God to encourage me in that miraculous way as I was literally in the frying pan. Eventually, that door closed, and my life went back to normal. I retired in 2014 for medical reasons and prayed that God would still use me. In 2016, I was asked to testify at a Senate committee hearing, and I subsequently joined the Charlotte Lozier Institute, and I've testified in multiple states since then. I tell you all this to encourage you in two ways. First, if God can change my heart, then he can change anyone's. We're living in an unprecedented time when the public and legislators are more open to what we have to say than ever before, and we have a president who's willing to sign pro-life legislation. I urge you to reach out to those with pro-abortion views and those in the abortion industry in love. I didn't change my mind because someone yelled at me or berated me. I thought I was doing something good. God changed my heart and mind by using circumstances and the loving people around me. Second, you don't have to be a former abortionist for God to use you in miraculous ways. You don't need to figure it all out. Just pray and let God know you're willing. Then have the courage to step forward when he opens the door. He'll do the rest. I would encourage you to reach out to women who have had abortions. There are millions of them, including some here, and they are suffering. A woman cannot kill her baby and remain unscathed. Healing takes prayer, counseling, loving support, and accepting God's forgiveness. Imagine what would happen if all those women came forward and told their stories so that the public would know the true devastation of what abortion has wreaked on our society. Unfortunately, most of the information on the psychological consequences of abortion was written by those with a pro-abortion agenda, and they played down the impact of abortion on psychological health. Thankfully, there are newer studies that show how devastating abortion can be. To counteract the lie that abortions are safe, we need more pro-life doctors and scientists to do scientific studies and write papers. We also need legislation requiring all states to report abortions and their complications. We know from a scientific standpoint that when the egg and sperm meet, a totally unique human being is created. And yet our society has believed the lie that unborn children shouldn't have any rights until they can live outside the womb. Language is important. It sounds much better to terminate a pregnancy than to kill a baby. A pregnancy is not a person. It's the medical condition of the mother. Try and help people see that what is in the womb is a person with their own unique characteristics and potential, not just a blob of tissue. Because of their compassion for women with unwanted pregnancies, many otherwise good people feel abortion is necessary. Many of those doing abortions do so because they want to help women. We need to help them feel compassion for the unborn. One of the most delightful things about being an OBGYN is meeting young people that I delivered. It's bittersweet, however, because it reminds me of all the people I will never meet because I aborted them. I feel so thankful that God has allowed me to do what I'm doing, and I pray that He gives you the courage to step through the door He wants to open for you. I would like to read something to you that God gave me one night shortly after accepting this invitation to speak. Hello, Mommy. I'm here. It's me. I'm so glad to be here. What a wonderful place. Your heartbeat soothes me as I float cozy and warm. The rhythm of your movement rocks me to sleep. I love you, Mommy. You don't know I'm here yet, and I can't wait for you to find out. I know you will be excited to get as wonderful a gift as me. God picked me especially for you. I long to meet you. I've been tapping on your tummy, hoping you will notice me. I'm here, Mommy. It's me. It's getting a bit squishy in here now, but it gives me a chance to feel my body against yours and feel your touch. Sometimes I can hear your lovely voice. I love it when you laugh and sing. Was that chocolate you just ate? How nice it is to be here. How nice it is to be me. Why are you crying, Mommy? I thought you would be happy to know I was here. I might be inconvenient, but it will all work out. Wait and see. God has a plan. Does it really matter how I came to be? I'm here, Mommy. It's me. I only need to stay a little while till I can be on my own. Won't you give me a chance? I can be a blessing if you let me. I'm yours, Mommy. I'm me. If you really can't keep me, let me bless someone else. Listen to your heart. Don't kill me, Mommy. I'm here. It's me. Give me a chance to see who I can be. There's no guarantee that I'll be perfect, but I will be unique. I'm here, Mommy. It's me. Perhaps I will be an artist or a geologist. Maybe I will find a cure for cancer or broker a peace that keeps us from war. You will never know if you kill me. Don't listen to those who say I'm just a blob of tissue. I'm real, Mommy, I'm me. I have hopes and dreams and a will to live. Give me the chance to see a rainbow and hear the birds sing, to taste lemonade and smell a rose. I want to run and jump and tumble in the grass. I want to feel the warmth of the sun on my face. I'm here, Mommy. It's me. Let me stay just a little longer. When I'm strong enough, I will leave. I know there are others who can love me if you cannot keep me. And I will thank you for your mercy and sacrifice. Please let me live, Mommy. Let me be me. I'm here, Mommy. It's me. On a lighter note, I would love to see someone create a comic strip or a cartoon featuring a baby in the womb. It could be so much fun, and it may reach people that can't be reached in any other way, and subtly change how they think about the unborn. If I had to point to one thing that brought me to a pro-life position, it was understanding at a heart level that abortion does not just terminate a pregnancy, it kills an innocent person who deserves a chance to be. Help people see that just as they have compassion on women with unplanned pregnancies, they need to have compassion on the unborn. If you can get them to see the unborn as people, just like them, it will change the way they think about abortion. They need to know that by not wanting to inconvenience one person for a short time, they are depriving another person of an entire lifetime. Show them that there are better solutions for both the mother and the baby than abortion. Abortion not only kills babies, it hurts women. Thank you so much for listening and for standing up for the unborn. Thank you for protecting those who cannot protect themselves, those who wouldn't continue to be if you did nothing. Thank you. And God bless you.